Sister demands I lend her my husband because she's pregnant with no baby daddy involved and let him experience fatherhood because I can't provide him that experience anyways because of my fertility issues anyways, and husband agrees, claiming that it's just a matter of 9 months. It doesn't take me long to connect the dots and now I'm filing for a divorce. But just 6 months in I get a call from ex-husband in tears because sister just got back with the real father of her baby after making him pay for everything in advance including delivery cost. Hi, so I'm using a throwaway. I don't want this linked to my main. 6 months ago, I, 27 female, filed for divorce from my husband, 27 male, of 5 years. And as silly as it might sound to a lot of people, I got divorced over one conversation with him and my sister. My sister, 21, female, came to us when she was pregnant. And right before she was about to start showing, she said that she wanted me to lend her my husband. I'm not joking, that's actually the word that she used. She told us that she was pregnant and her baby daddy was not involved. They had separated as soon as she found out that she was pregnant. And now before she started showing, she wanted me to let my husband commit to becoming a father to that child. The arrangement would be such that I would still be married to him, but he would do all the duties of a father and it would be his name on the birth certificate because she couldn't do this all on her own. It was obviously a crazy suggestion and I was taking it as a joke, but my husband seemed to be quite excited about it and he agreed to it before I could say anything. I told him that it was insane, but my sister told me that it would be good for all of us because this way he would get to experience fatherhood as well, which would have been difficult with me because I'd been struggling with fertility issues for the past couple of years. That was getting way too personal, and I was getting sick of her. So I asked her to get out of my house and try to sort things out with my husband later on, but he was not willing to budge. He said that he had already decided that he was going to help my sister out, and I shouldn't be so jealous and insecure because it was only a matter of 9 months. I don't think that he realized that it was not just 9 months, because if he committed to playing the role of a father for 9 months, he would end up committing to it for a lifetime. And being my husband, I couldn't even imagine how he was considering it. I told him that if he agreed to this insane arrangement, I was out. I was going to file for divorce and he told me that I was crazy and I should be looking out for my sister like he was instead of being so jealous. Then he had the audacity to tell me that I was just acting like this because I couldn't have any babies of my own, and that's why I was insecure. For me, that was it. I instantly started packing my stuff and walked out. I gave him 3 days to reach out to me and apologize, but he didn't. So I filed for a divorce. We went back and forth for a couple of weeks on the divorce petition, but once we were satisfied with the terms, it was finalized. And since then, neither have I spoken to my husband nor have I spoken to my sister. My parents have also cut her off, so we don't know what she's been up to at all. I think they're living together but I'm not too sure. Anyway, things had been very difficult for me for the past couple of months and I've been in therapy because this has really messed with my head. It's just such a weird and unexpected situation. I don't think anybody has ever been through something like this, so it's been pretty hard for me. But earlier this week, I received a call from my ex-husband. It was from a new number, and when I picked it up, I heard him crying on the other end, saying that he was very apologetic for everything that he had screwed up, and he wanted to get back with me. Apparently, 3 weeks ago, my sister gave birth, and now she's dumped him and has gone back to her ex-boyfriend, who was the real father of the baby. The funniest part is that she made him pay for everything, and now that her ex-boyfriend is back in her life, she's not interested in him anymore, but she's refusing to return the money that he paid up front for all the medical expenditure. And he told me that he really regrets everything that went wrong, so he wants me to give him another chance. But I told him that he deserves exactly this, and I might even congratulate my sister because I got to see his true colors, all thanks to her. He tried to tell me that nothing ever happened between the two of them. It was all platonic, and he was just playing the dad but not the husband. And even after I filed for divorce, in his head, he was constantly committed to me, but I didn't care. I just hung up. And then later on, his parents called me to tell me that he was miserable. And the least that I could do for him was to at least talk to him and sort things out since I had not given him that chance before, and that's how we ended up divorced without even discussing things once first. I'm still not interested though. So AITA for not wanting to give my ex-husband a chance to explain. Edit. Okay. So I guess there is a lot of context missing. I posted in a hurry, so I wasn't able to elaborate on a lot of things. So first off, my husband and I have been married for 5 years and together for 8. We dated for 3 years before we got married, and that's how long he's known my sister. So pretty much since she was 13. And when we were dating, he literally used to treat her like his own sister. So you guys can understand why this was gross for a multitude of reasons. Anyway, my sister and I used to be close before we got married, but in recent years after she started college, she's been acting very strangely. Her entire life revolves around boys, beer, and parties, and I don't feel very connected to her anymore. So that's why she never even told me that she was pregnant until we had that conversation. Whatever I mentioned in my post was pretty true to whatever conversation we had at the time. The things that I mentioned happened exactly as I said. There was no exaggeration, and that's exactly how they had spoken to me. I know a lot of people are shocked, but that's exactly what happened, and believe me, at the time, this is exactly how I had felt. I found it pretty unbelievable as well, but, yeah, that's what happened. And even now, sometimes when I think about it, I still can't bring myself to believe it. According to my ex-husband, he believed that he could do all the duties of her father and be by my sister's side while she was pregnant so she wouldn't be too stressed out. He even said that she could live with us so that I wouldn't be suspicious of anything. But the fact that he was even entertaining this idea was weird to me, and that's why I did not give him a chance to explain anything. It was just that one fight and then I left because if you guys remember, he also brought up my fertility issues, and that was not something that I could tolerate because he knew that that was a very sore spot for me. I had been trying to get pregnant for 2 years, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it, and I had even had 2 failed rounds of IVF by then. It really takes a toll on one's body, and I couldn't believe that just to take my sister's side, he was triggering me over something like this. At that point, I started putting 2 and 2 together, and I figured that maybe he had a thing for her or something because of the way he was speaking about her. I can't prove it, but it was just a gut feeling. And unlike what my in-law said, it's not like he had no chance of getting through to me. As I had mentioned in my post, I had given him 3 days to reach out to me before I filed for a divorce. I had not blocked him, and he knew I was staying with my parents, so he could have come over whenever he wanted and tried to sort things out with me. But he did not make any effort, so that showed me pretty clearly where I stood with him, and that's why I filed for a divorce. And even after that, I didn't block him for quite some time, so he could still have tried to talk to me and clear things out. But he still didn't bother. Only now that he has realized that my sister was just using him all along, he wants to come back to me. Update 1. Hey. So I thought about it, and I decided that I'm not going to talk to him. I don't really need to. I had already decided that in the beginning, but I just needed a second opinion, which is why I posted here. After reading the comments, I'm pretty sure that I didn't even need to post, but I was feeling very weird about certain things, so I had to, because the whole conversation with my in-laws had made me second-guess my decision, since it was true that I never had an opportunity to discuss anything with my ex-husband before I left him. In the past few months after I filed for divorce, there was absolutely no contact between me and him, and I didn't actually know what was really going on, so that's why I was feeling very strange. But after going through the comments, I realized that if he had anything to say, he would have said it back then, and that's what I said in my edit as well. And now I don't see any reason to feel so weird anymore. And speaking of whatever happened between him and my sister, I'm actually pretty happy about it. He deserves exactly this, if nothing else, and I really wish that she gets her karma at some point as well. But for now, this is good enough for me. As for whatever my ex-husband has been trying to get me to believe, that nothing had happened between him and my sister while I was gone, that it was all platonic and he was committed to me in his head, I don't believe any of that. I'm not that stupid. I don't need anybody in the comments to tell me about it. I was already pretty sure that after the divorce, they must have had the time of their lives, and I don't even know what it means to be committed to somebody in his head. He's either committed or he's not. The way he phrased it was also very strange. But anyway, after I had filed for divorce, I was already pretty sure that now they were going to get together, and even though I still don't have any proof of it, I'm pretty sure that that's what happened. It still makes me really upset every time I think about it, but not as much as it used to a few months ago. I have already made my peace with it, so he doesn't need to come back here and change my mind by lying to me about what might have happened, because I'm not foolish enough to fall for those lies, that's for sure. Update 2. So it's been a week since that phone call from my ex-husband, and I had just been processing everything. But today, I decided to meet my parents for dinner and told them everything about what I had heard. They were pretty surprised as well, because they had not been in touch with my sister for quite some time either. Pretty much since the day all of this started happening, they tried to get her to see sense, but she, being the homewrecker that she is, didn't care, and they cut her off. She's not financially dependent on them for her tuition, since our grandparents have left an education fund for both of us, so she had no reason to come back to our parents either, and so they have had no contact. As for her other expenses, my dear ex-husband was covering all of that for her anyway, so it didn't matter. Basically, she didn't need our parents, so she couldn't care less whether they kept in touch with her or not. So that's her nature. And now that she's done using my ex-husband, she doesn't need him either, and she's gone back to her ex-boyfriend. Now, let's see how long that relationship lasts. Anyway, I told my parents about all of this, and they told me that I had done the right thing by not engaging with him further, because he did not deserve being spoken to. After all the horrible things that he had said to me during our last fight, there was no need for me to go back to him anyway. And the fact that my in-laws were trying to make me feel guilty for not giving him a chance to explain himself was ridiculous, because if he had wanted to, He could have done it. He chose not to because he wanted to be with my sister, and that was as disgusting as it could get. They told me that they were happy that I did not fall for their guilt trip and ended up talking to my ex-husband because he might have been able to manipulate me then. They also said that while they were very upset with my sister for whatever she had done, they also found it very amusing that she had dumped my ex-husband as well now, and they were also thinking along similar lines that this served them right. So we had a good dinner together, and now that I've spoken to my parents about it, I'm even more sure that my decision is the right one. I don't know if my sister is ever going to get her karma or not, but I know for a fact that my parents are never going to forgive her, and I think that's punishment enough because she might be enjoying her life right now, but at some point she's going to need her family, and she's not going to have anyone then if she continues to treat people like this. A lot of people might not agree with me, but I strongly believe this. Update 3. Okay, so things are getting pretty weird now. It's been more than 2 weeks since I last spoke to my ex-husband, and since then, I have had absolutely zero interactions with either him or my in-laws. So I really have no idea why they decided to turn up at my house today with a bunch of flower bouquets, gift bags, and chocolate boxes. It's just really weird, and it happened at around 7 in the morning as well, which is just an abnormal time to show up at somebody else's place unannounced, especially when that person is somebody who is separated from your family for really terrible reasons. Anyway, I had just woken up and I was about to go for my morning run, and that's when they came by. When I opened the door, my ex-husband went down on one knee and proposed to me with a ring, saying that he was back here to prove that he really loved me. And even if I said no, he would still wait for me for the rest of his life. He told me that he had made the biggest mistake by trying to be there for my sister and allowing me to get away during that period of time, but now he was back on track, and he was never going to let me down again. His parents, who had never once bothered to reach out to me after the divorce, were standing behind him trying to tell me that he was miserable without me, and that he was going to do everything right this time, and even before this, he had only been trying to be there for my sister platonically. But because I had misconstrued and tried to portray him as somebody unfaithful and being so insecure and jealous, he had allowed me to get away out of his own overinflated ego, but that had obviously been a mistake, and now he was here to rectify it. Honestly, it felt like I was in a fever dream or something because this was pretty much the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. After they were all done talking, I had no idea what to say for a couple of seconds, and then I just asked them if they had all lost their minds or if this was supposed to be a prank or something, because there was no way that they were being for real right now. Their behavior was completely unhinged and downright creepy. And let me bring it up once again. They had literally shown up at my house at 7 a.m. in the morning to do all this, and that was the most ridiculous part of it all. When I brought that up with them and told them how stupid it was to expect this to work, my ex-husband just told me that he was only trying to prove that he was still remembered every little thing about me and he really missed and loved me. So, yeah, let me get this straight. He decided to show up at 7 a.m. in the morning with his parents, with all those things, to apologize because he wanted to prove to me that he remembered all my habits, as if that was worth anything after everything that had happened. Anyway, after I blew up at them and called them crazy and told them to get off my property, my in-laws backed up a little, but my husband still kept his place on the porch right in front of the door, kneeling. And then he started crying, saying that he was really sorry about everything and that he was being honest, that he had always been committed to me, and he had only let his anger get the better of him back when we were getting divorced. But that was his biggest mistake, and he should never have let that happen. He still continued to claim that nothing had ever happened between him and my sister and that it had all been purely platonic. He was just trying to be there for her as a friend because he felt bad for her and the baby, and because I had lashed out at him after the conversation that they had had. But he had agreed to be there for her as the father of the baby, and he was really upset with me because he couldn't believe that even after being together for so many years, I still couldn't trust him. And he thought that I was being insecure and jealous, something that he had said way too many times. And, apparently, that's why he did not try to reach out to me, because he was upset with me. But even while we were getting divorced, he knew that he still loved me, and the only reason he allowed me to get away without putting up a fight for the sake of our marriage was because he thought that I would be happier without him, and said that it was my behavior that made him think that I had lost feelings for him. He ended his little speech by telling me that all said and done, he knew that we were soulmates and we should not let this little tiff get in the way of what was meant to be, so he wanted me to take him back and do him the honor of being his wife once again. After he was done speaking, I just told him that I did not care about any of that anymore. I was happy with my life. And even though I do get upset about whatever had happened in the past, whenever I think about it, I'm trying to move on from it, and I have no interest in going back to him and trying to fix a relationship like this, because whatever he did, it was not something that he can take back. I don't care whether he had anything to do with my sister while I was away or not, because now it's all done and I'll just never be able to trust him again. As for love, all that evaporated a really long time ago, so I just don't care about him anymore. And he needs to get up. have some dignity and end this fast because it was pathetic. Finally, he got up off his knees, and that's when his parents started telling me that I was being heartless and that he had planned this whole surprise for me just to win me back, and the way that I was behaving was just cruel. By then, I started to get seriously annoyed, so I told them that if they did not leave, I would be left with no other option but to call the cops because they were getting on my nerves. My ex-husband seemed hesitant to leave, but his parents were probably intimidated by the mention of cops, so they started dragging him away, and even then, he was resisting them and kept saying that he knew that deep down I was still in love with him and I should just give it another chance instead of being so upset about things that have already happened in the past. In all honesty, his behavior towards the end was not funny anymore. It just started to seem concerning beyond that point, and so I decided to speak to my lawyer and file for a restraining order against him and his parents because they have seriously started to creep me out now. I found their behavior creepy, but also amusing, but the longer that I thought about it, the less funny it seemed. So I spoke to my lawyer, and since I do have the security footage from outside my house along with the audio, it's pretty clear why I am concerned. Given his behavior recently, I'm pretty sure that he's going through a very difficult time. And for some reason, he believes that getting back with me is going to fix everything for him, which is obviously not the case. Anyway, that's what his belief is, and I can't change that. But I can make sure that he doesn't come around me anytime soon, so I'll have to take this step. Additionally, I have also decided to increase the security around my house because I am a single woman. I live alone. Even without my ex-husband troubling me, I couldn't have afforded to live freely and without worries, and now I have him to add to my anxiety, so that's just brilliant. Anyway, at least I've spoken to my lawyer, and I'm sure that within a few days, we will be going through with the restraining order. Hopefully, after that, he'll stay away. Update 4. So it's been 4 weeks since my last update, and I'm finally through with the whole restraining order situation. My lawyer and I managed to get one against him and his parents for 2 years. So at least for now, I feel safer and better. Although I have still kept security around my house pretty tight even when I'm not even at home, during the legal proceedings, thankfully, he did not try to contact me, and even after that, he has stayed away. I guess the fear of losing his reputation and respect has made him think twice before trying to get in touch with me, and I'm really grateful for that, because if nothing else, at least for that reason, he will leave me alone now. Before these things started happening, sometimes I would think about him randomly and feel upset, but now I've realized how much I do not want him back in my life. He's literally crazy. There's something wrong with him and his parents, and I really think that they should seek treatment. Anyway, apart from that, I've been doing well, and now I think I'm going to be doing even better because I heard from my parents that my sister decided to get in touch with him last week and begged him to let her come over and stay with him because her flaky boyfriend decided to leave her once again. He has agreed to raise their daughter together in the sense that he will contribute to the relationship financially and take care of his daughter for half the week, but he's not ready to commit to her in the way that she wants to. She asked him to marry her, and that freaked him out, and now they're taking a break once again. That also means that she cannot stay with him and his family because it's really weird, and he's also asked her to leave, but has very kindly agreed to take care of the daughter until she can find a place. So she's been asking everyone to let her stay with them, but her friends are not going to let her live with them rent-free, and now, since she can't ask for money from her boyfriend and neither does she have my husband to support her, she's completely on her own. And I guess now, she's realizing that she does still need her parents. So she's been begging them to help her out, but they have been ignoring her, and I guess I'm supposed to feel bad for her or something. But I really don't. In fact, I think she deserves this, and I'm very happy that this is happening to her because some gold diggers need to be taught a lesson. I can bet she doesn't even like her boyfriend for who he is. She's probably just in it for the money, and I'm glad that it has all backfired now. At least her baby doesn't have to suffer because of her. The poor kid is not at fault because his mom is, well, let's just say a commonly used gardening tool. Update 5. Hi. So it's been 3 months since my last update and things are going pretty well for me now. I have decided that I need a change of scenery, so I applied to a bunch of jobs out of state, and now I'm going to be moving. It's going to be great. I'm pretty excited for the future, and considering the fact that I haven't had any contact with my ex-husband in the recent past, I'm even happier now. He has completely given up on me. As far as I know, he's created a bunch of accounts on dating apps that my friends have found and sent to me. So all that about loving me was obviously a lie, and I'm glad that I did not fall for any of that. I didn't get an email from my sister last month, though she was pretty upset because she did not get any help from our parents. And she blamed me for it, saying that I must have brainwashed them against her, which is ridiculous because she did a great job of it herself by hooking up with my husband behind my back, and she admitted to it, finally. So I also know that my ex-husband was lying about not having any sort of relationship with her apart from platonic friendship because the whole time that they were living together after I filed for divorce, she was sleeping with him. I had always known it, But I never had any proof apart from my word. Now I also have proof of how terrible they really are. And my sister in the email actually said that she was glad that she did that because that's what I deserved. So I guess you'll never be getting any sort of help from our parents ever again because that's exactly what she deserves.